The United Church of Christ recognizes the second Sunday in February as Racial Justice Sunday. I'm Reverend Dr. Velda Love, Minister of Racial Justice at the UCC National Ministries in Cleveland, Ohio, and I invite you to commemorate and celebrate all the justice warriors, advocates, and people of faith actively engaged in movement work toward racial justice and justice for all. Growing up in predominantly Black churches in Chicago, every Sunday was focused on justice, but particularly racial justice. Sermons, prayers, and scripture lessons focused on messages of hope for all God's people. Altar call prayers were moments to express communal and personal needs for protection from white supremacists and healing for people whose lives were impacted by racist policies and unjust practices of segregation, discrimination, marginalization, and oppressive tactics to exclude people of African descent to live without threats of violence and bodily harm. Sunday worship experiences prepared us to live Monday through Saturday with sacred memories from Scripture. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for our God will be with us wherever we go. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways trust, and God will guide you always. Since November 5th, many have been living with fragile post-election emotions, disappointment, and anxieties about what may be a tumultuous unraveling of centuries of being bridges for movements of solidarity, peace, and community building with our siblings of Latin, Asian, Native American, African, Caribbean, Middle Eastern, and European descents. There are churches in the struggle for racial justice working to elevate and secure human and civil rights. Churches across the country and the globe are paying attention to the devastating fires in Southern California. Activists, political and policy advocates, lay leaders, and community organizers are working towards addressing crisis after crisis because of the newly elected president's moves to dismantle, disrupt, and destroy government agencies that provide health care for millions of Americans, emergency housing and funding to assist families during disasters, protections for immigrants and migrants from being deported, detained, and jailed, and adequate funding for schools to feed and care for children. Be courageous and strong. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for our God will be with us wherever we go. Where do we go from here? Chaos or community? This is the last book written by Martin Luther King Jr. Where do we go from here gives us lessons in how to stay on life's journey to forge a solidarity movement amongst all people and to build a just world for all. We remain committed to building solidarity across all races and identities because we need each other to survive and thrive during the cruel and uncaring dismantling of human services, civil and human rights, and democracy in our nation. We have everything we need to remain strong and courageous because many of us have been here before. My ancestors and your ancestors have given us the resources, tools, and strategies for staying in the fight for peace and justice. While America struggles with ending practices and policies of white supremacy, According to Professor Eddie Glaude Jr., I believe congregations within the United Church of Christ will work together to build up a new world. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for our God will be with us wherever we go. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways trust, and God will guide you always. A reminder from Proverbs, the 3rd chapter, verses 5 and 6.